SCP-589 is called the Obsession Doll. It's basically a doll that changes form based on your deepest desires, and you become addicted to it. It's got some crazy properties. We're going to react to a video today. It's from SCP Exposed. Make sure to head on over to his channel and subscribe. Hit the notification bell, guys, and if you like reaction videos, make sure to subscribe to my channel as well. Let's get into this reaction.
D-Class members were sent into SCP-589's Containment Center.
Okay.
There were 3 D-Class members in total.
So this is an experiment.
Into the room, and there, sitting on a chair, was SCP-589.
A little doll.
At this point in time, SCP-589's appearance was that of a classic China doll, with a flowery red dress and a big red bow on its head.
Alright.
All subjects recalled feeling a sense of calm and peace as soon as they laid eyes on the doll. They were immediately drawn to the object, and all stepped forward. But then, suddenly, Subject A lashed out at the other 2 individuals for fear that they would steal 589 from him.
Whoa.
Subject B and Subject C also lashed out, fearing the other would hog 589 to themselves. A fight broke out, and by the time Foundation personnel rushed in, Subject A had a concussion, Subject B had 2 broken ribs, and Subject C had his eyeball gouged out.
Oh my god!
589 had not moved from its position on the chair. All individuals were removed from the room before SCP-589 could deal any more damage.
Dang.
Welcome back to SCP Exposed. Today, we bring you Keter Class Object SCP-589,
Hard to
aka
contain.
the doll. This object must be contained within a sealed, reinforced container that is welded shut.
Alright.
Under no circumstances is SCP-589 to be removed from its container, physically contacted, or even seen. The doll and its container must sit on a scale so that it may be continually weighed to confirm SCP-589's presence. The doll's containment cell may only be accessed by Level 4 personnel and must be guarded by at least 2 Level 4 security personnel with 24-hour surveillance.
That's pretty high.
Under no circumstances is SCP-589 allowed to leave its containment cell. Any personnel attempting unauthorized entry or removal of the doll will be terminated on the spot.
Cool. Should
containment be breached, then the entire sector SCP-589 is held in must be immediately purged via demolition charges or incendiary devices. Any personnel assigned to the sector that manage to escape must be questioned and then immediately detained for psychological screening.
Okay.
If any personnel failed to escape, then that is the price that must be paid to ensure SCP-589's containment.
Well,
in the event that SCP-589 must be handled without the protection of the container, the only personnel authorized to handle the doll must be cleared by Foundation psychologists and must have a psionic resistance index of 30 or higher.
Psionic resistance.
Once their task is complete, all personnel that have handled SCP-589 must submit to a mandatory psychological screening. SCP-589 is a stuffed animal or figure that is able to change its appearance based on the subjective desires of the first person to come in contact with it. SCP-589 has the ability to create a calming, soothing sensation within anybody who sees or comes into physical contact with it.
There's a problem with that, though, as y'all saw.
This ability appears to be memetic, as it is able to spread via copies of itself as well as pictures depicting its likeness. It is noted that in 1982, the iconic Mr. Sammy Tammy figure took the toy world by storm, despite no records or writings of it having existed beforehand. However, suddenly Mr. Sammy Tammy toys began production all across the world, without any apparent source. Foundation researchers theorized the Mr. Sammy Tammy toy was a byproduct of SCP-589. The calming effect SCP-589 imparts is not unlike the use of narcotics, as it stimulates the areas of the brain that are responsible for feelings of relief and euphoria.
So it's as addictive as narcotics.
Encourages the production of chemicals and hormones that reduce stress. However, this effect quickly becomes addictive, with infected individuals becoming completely dependent on SCP-589 after extended exposure. Once addicted, an individual's interaction with SCP-589 or any of its copies borders on complete obsession, and they are compelled to create more copies of the object and attempt to spread them. However, what makes SCP-589 dangerous are its after effects. After a certain period of time, 589 will immediately vanish. 589, any of its physical copies, and all versions of it in printed and electronic media will completely disappear.
So the people
This sudden and massive disappearance of 589 results in catastrophic consequences for those infected by 589.
They're addicted.
Without the object there to keep them passive and calm, infected individuals will immediately suffer a variety of severe withdrawal symptoms, including, but not limited to, manic depression, psychosis, heightened aggression, uncontrollable despair,
baby doll
dementia,
crack.
mania, paranoia, and various other behavioral disorders.
Wow,
It is not known how or why SCP-589 does this, though there is speculation that 589 feeds off of the mental anguish it causes to those completely obsessed with it.
Like Monsters,
Once
Inc.
the process is complete, SCP-589 will reappear in another random location and repeat the cycle. An example of such a case was in the small rural town of Hannesburg, Texas.
Little Texas.
It was 1997, and the town possessed a population of only 300 people. Reports sprung up that a new toy had been sold in the only toy store in town.
Okay.
It was described as a brown teddy bear with cute black eyes, a blue ribbon, and soft fur. Every kid in town bought the toy, and every household in Hannesburg had the famed brown teddy bear. Everyone loved the toy, and eventually they became obsessed with it. Then, suddenly, in the summer of 1997, all copies of the brown teddy bear in Hannesburg disappeared, just like that. There was no evidence of its existence whatsoever.
Kids are gonna go bananas.
Photos that once contained the teddy bear were now empty. Videos were somehow deleted from cameras.
Wow,
Drawings of the teddy bear by children were blank and
That's
erased.
power, bro.
However, the people still remembered the teddy bear they had come to love with all their heart, and they could not understand why it had disappeared so suddenly.
News stories
Tensions
and
raised.
stuff.
People were frantic as they searched for the teddy bear. Some tried to make copies of it, but to no avail.
Right.
In the end, the town grew mad and massive riots broke out.
It's not just the kids.
By the end of the summer, the entire population of 300 people had died due to mass murder and violence.
Wow.
When outside Foundation agents arrived at the scene, there was nothing left but the bodies of the slaughtered locals. Next, a new toy seemed to have sprung up in a small island off the coast of New Zealand. This time in the form of a dinosaur toy. The same thing happened. People became obsessed with it, both children and adults. And then suddenly, the dinosaur toy disappeared off the face of the earth. Riots sprung up, massacres occurred, people went insane, and many people ended up dead or injured due to acts of violence. Dr. Jones, thankfully, was able to link these seemingly random tragedies that occurred in places all over the world. He was able to narrow it down to the appearance of a toy of some sort, and the next time a toy appeared suddenly in a town somewhere, Dr. Jones dispatched agents to locate and retrieve the object.
Good work, Dr. Jones.
Using the data Dr. Jones provided, the Foundation managed to intercept and contain SCP-589.
Good.
Though several personnel had to undergo rigorous psychological treatment to counter the effects of 589.
Dealt with it.
Currently, SCP-589 has not attempted to leave its containment area, which has led researchers to hypothesize that the object follows a very specific life cycle pattern. After various experiments on test groups consisting of D-class personnel, SCP-589 appears to be solely targeted at individuals with severe insecurities or those suffering from high amounts of stress.
Interesting.
Infection rates on subjects whose psychological profiles suggested that they were susceptible to high amounts of stress or low self-esteem showed a 90% infection rate, while subjects with little to no stress and high self-esteem only suffered from a 12% infection rate. This confirms Dr. Jones's initial hypothesis that SCP-589 targets areas with high numbers of people that are easy for it to infect. It is notable that Hannesburg, the town that SCP-589 had visited in 1997, possessed abnormally high depression rates. Similarly, in the small island off New Zealand, anxiety levels were high due to the poor economy that existed there. It is a real possibility that SCP-589 may in fact be a sentient creature, rather than an inanimate object. Study of SCP-589's movement patterns correlated with data about its infection pattern suggests that SCP-589 deliberately controls where it appears at the beginning of every cycle. However, more data and experiments are needed in order to confirm this. This cannot be achieved, unfortunately, due to Event 589-03. In August of 2005, numerous experiments were conducted involving D-Class personnel and SCP-589. The D-Class members were asked to spend 3 hours every day playing with SCP-589 and its copies, which were contained at Site-21. This continued for a period of 3 weeks. Unknown to higher authorities, SCP-589 had been implementing its obsession effects into all personnel who were stationed at Site-21, totaling 63 people. On the 28th of August, 2005, a breach of containment occurred, whereby all 63 staff members of Site-21 attempted to extract SCP-589 out of its holding facility. They managed to make it out of Site-21, but were immediately stopped by Task Force Zero before they could enter the public world. Not without casualty, however. 18 members of Task Force Zero were killed during the attempted breach, all at the hands of Foundation employees. It is clear that SCP-589's mind-numbing effects are so strong that it can bring innocent people to commit murder.
Right.
All 63 staff members were imprisoned and put under severe analysis. SCP-589 was returned to its holding facility with extra security measures put in place. General 05-LF has ordered that under no circumstances can any individual at any time come into contact with SCP-589.
Right, yeah.
There have been debates over whether the doll should be terminated, namely by way of incineration, but many researchers have gone against this proposition due to the possibility that SCP-589 may just reappear in a different form somewhere else on Earth.
It's true.
As it is known, the doll is capable of this. Some Foundation members theorize that SCP-589 is an object sent here by a parallel dimension to inflict terror and pain.
Okay.
Although this theory is based on no real evidence. Others theorize SCP-589 is a sentient creature, merely waiting for its time to strike and send the world into a complete catastrophe, consisting of insane people and doom.
It could definitely do it too.
This theory is based on no real evidence.
Like in the Mouth of Madness, everybody just went crazy and just started axe murdering people and stuff.
Comment your thoughts down below and
that was so crazy, man. I really think that's an interesting one. The fact that it's a toy just makes it so much more approachable, right? And the fact that when people get a hold of it, it infects the whole household, not just a kid, everybody that sees it. Turns people against each other. That's some dangerous stuff, y'all. Now, make sure to go analyze all the toys that you bought people for Christmas now, and your own toys too. This was a great one. Guys, SCP Exposed, make sure to check them out, as well as a couple other videos that I reacted to. Thanks so much for watching. As always, this is Zueljin signing off. We'll see you next time.